Hello, everyone. Dr. David checking in. And welcome to How to Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind. Let me ask you a kind of dangerous question, but a couple of questions actually. First of all, by show of hands or me in the chat, how many of you are looking to make a change in your life? How many of you are dealing with something that just keeps coming back, or you just every time you go after it, you keep hitting a block or whatever? If that's you, go ahead and type that in the chat. Let me go open my chat here so I can see y'all. Actually, before I go any further, let me just go ahead and make sure that my recording is running so you guys actually have a replay when this thing starts. All right. So once again, oh, by the way, please forgive my erratic audio video. Somehow, some way, Zoom and my system are not getting along well. So we're just gonna have to deal with that. So first of all, let me welcome you to how to master your mind, how to reprogram your subconscious mind. Going back to what I was saying in the chat, how many of you are looking to make a change? How many of you are looking to, or maybe there's something new you want to accomplish, or maybe there's something that's been a problem for you for however long, and every time you think you make some headway, boom, something just knocks you back down, or something comes out of the blue, or and takes you by surprise and puts you kind of back to square one, or maybe you feel like it's like one step forward, two steps back. How many of you are experiencing something like that? Anybody? Let me type that in the chat here. Why am I not seeing my people? Oh wait, you know what? It's one of those days. I don't see you guys in the chat, so that means that my chat settings are not right. Let me just fix that if I can really quickly. Yep, that's what it is. I apologize once again. I thought everything was ready to go, and just like before, the universe kind of proved me wrong. All right. So, how many of you type where you're checking in from? Great. So, how many of you fit the description of what I just described? I just talked about. Okay. Well, what if the reason our life hasn't changed isn't because we're lazy, right? Now, don't get me wrong, there are lazy people out there, but by and large, the people who tend to find their way into Planet David are a little bit more on the proactive side. They're people who really want to make a change, who are looking for an advantage, an ethical advantage, a hack, for lack of a better word, gaining an edge over the competition. That's kind of the people that find their way into Planet David. They're looking for you're more on a proactive side. So honestly, a lot of times, if things keep coming back, if things aren't working out the way you intended to, the way you know the plan should be, a lot of times it's not because you're lazy. It's not because you lack discipline. It isn't because you don't know enough. It's because your subconscious mind, what I call the boss, has been programmed to bypass or nullify or reject the future you consciously say you want. Now, a lot of times it doesn't intend that to happen, but it has competing priorities, so to speak, if that makes any kind of sense, right? So think about this for a moment, because if your subconscious mind, if your subconscious mind is wired for something other than what you consciously want, how strong is that going? How much impetus, how much motivation are you going to actually have towards accomplishing that, right? So today's webinar is really about helping you get unstuck, but it's going to come at it from a very different perspective. A lot of times our webinars focus on clearing up crap, which, by the way, is important. But there's something deeper that can make a lot of difference for us, and that is the identity or ego state that we're embodying at any given moment. So I'm seeing a lot of people jumped in at the last minute, and I'm excited for that. So really quick, just so I understand who's with me and where I can start with this webinar. How many of you are veterans of Planet David? How many of you have been to 3 or 4 of my webinars, a few of my trainings? Just type your name and how long you've been in Planet David or following our material so I can see that. I'm going to jump into my chat here so I can see. Shout out to my lovely Zoom people, or not my Zoom people, my YouTubers out here, right? Okay, Lakshay, 2 months. Alexia, about a year. Welcome. I recognize your name, Alexia. And I think Nathan I've seen before, right? And of course, Lakshay, Lottie's here, Edie, right? Very good. All right, you guys. I want to give you guys a little bit of a different approach, right? How many people here are familiar with something called the reticular activating system? Susan's been in love with your work for years. Thank you, Susan. I'm excited for you guys, really am. How many of you guys are familiar with something called the reticular activating system? Okay. You'll hear a lot of people in the manifestation world, the law of attraction world, they'll talk about the reticular activating or the reticular formation system. Chase likes to call it reticular formation system. In past episodes, in past webinars, you've heard me talk about something called the emotional refractory period. How many people remember that term from back in the early days of Planet David when I was teaching you about influencing human beings and stuff like that? How many people remember that? Just type it in the chat for me. Okay, good. All right. So, the emotional refractory period is the manifestation of the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system is the part of your neurology that decides what's important in your environment and what isn't. It actually also helps to determine what meanings you assign to things in your environment. So, how many of you, by a show of hands, have ever been on one of my law of attraction webinars or um, even IBD, for lack of a better word? How many of you have ever heard me talk about the 5 characteristics of lucky people? Okay, so if you stay with me till the end of tonight's webinar, I'm going to show you the mechanism by which you can begin to not only re-educate your nervous system on how to perceive the world around you, how to uplift your consciousness and move through the world with a greater sense of power, possibility, charisma, playfulness. It's also the same mechanism that can allow you, I think it, do I have 2 mics live? I only have 1 mic live that I can see. Is there more than 1 mic going? Hold on a second. Let me, noise removal. No, I've only got 1 mic going, folks. I don't know what's going on. Susan says, okay, so it might be just your system, or you might have more than one speaker going in the background. All right. Weird things happen in plant. Ever since I started getting deeper and deeper into the energy work, all the electronics around my house are just going crazy every moment of every day. So if you'll notice, every time you log on the webinar with me, weird tech stuff happens. It's probably not the electronics. Okay. It's probably not the electronics. It's just when you get as deep into the energetics of things as I've been getting, many of my students are having the same effects on their electronics. It's just something that happens as a byproduct of the high level trainings that we're doing. But that's a different class for a different day. So we're going to talk about a technique today called pillars of power. Now, to talk about pillars of power, we need to know why it's important, because one of the things that we need to understand is that there's 2 aspects to creation. There's 2 aspects to reprogramming your subconscious mind. Robert says it's my electric personality. It could be. It could be. Who am I to say, right? So most of the time when we come on and we do our reprogram webinars and things like that, we're focused mostly on clearing up the shit, right? Well, that's part of the equation. And if you understand the biases of the nervous system, it's a big part of getting out of your own way. But there's another part that goes along with that, and that's the generative part. And this is where we can once again, through this technique we call pillars of power, take tremendous charge over our own neurology. How many of you have ever heard of something called, or heard self-help gurus or talk about something called a peak state? Anybody? Anybody? Just type it in the chat. This is going to be one of those webinars where we're just going to get real intimate. We're going to talk a lot. Flow state. Flow state is a form of peak state, yes. So there are certain states that allow us to perform at our absolute best. But unfortunately, for many of us, those states happen randomly. Or as many high performing athletes, if you actually study them a lot of them have rituals that they go through to get from Joe average state to master of the universe state. I'm going to give you a process for that today, right? Now, the pillars of power technique is what we call a compound technique. It's actually a series of smaller techniques integrated together that, when you do them effectively, will transform you in a very powerful way to see the world through the eyes of playfulness, curiosity, victory, triumph, whatever state it is that you want to embody. This particular process will allow you to do it. Now, this is a very powerful variation of a very old NLP technique known as circles of excellence. In the circles of excellence technique, you would imagine the state that you want and you would anchor it to a color, and that circle would just kind of follow you around. And any time that you wanted to get into that state, you would just step into your circle and boom, you would become Superman or Superwoman or whatever. Well, one of my more colorful mentors back in the early 80s, 90s, I get 90s and early 2000s, was a man by the name of Dr. John LaTourette. Now, Dr. John is was a very colorful character in the world of NLP and martial arts, but he was also brilliant. And he looked at that technique and he said that would never work for fighters. That would never work for martial arts athletes. And he was right. The technique, the original circles of excellence technique, lacked too many things to truly create an embodied, harmonized, gestalted, synergized nervous system. Right? If you were one of the blessed, the blessed third of the population who was a natural somnambulist, where any hypnotic technique works on them, not a problem. But if you were like the rest of us who need a little bit more juice to get into these peak states, it wasn't quite the same. So the question becomes, how does all this tie into the reticular activating system and getting lucky and all these? Everything the human being the human being does is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Now, we know this from past trainings. If you've been on the channel for any length of time, this is a core fundamental driving force in our approach to transformation and achievement, right? So the question becomes, how do you control your feelings? How do you get yourself in the state you need to be in to get the other people to do what you want them to do? How do you get into the state you need to be in to connect to the non-local universe, source, create, whatever it is you want to connect to? Everything has to start with, how do you control your state? The two fundamental levers that you have over controlling your state is your physiology, which roughly equates to posture, and your breathing. Okay? So you have posture and breathing equals physiology. When the physiology and the breath are coordinated properly, you can enter or exit any state you want at will on demand. So that's where we have to start, is understanding that if there is a state that we want to get into, if I can remember a time in my life when I felt that, and remember how I was standing or sitting in that moment, remember how I was breathing in that moment, and I hold that position for at least 2 minutes, my body will, in fact, start to go back into that state very reliably, very consistently. The challenge will be holding the posture. Okay, we know this from previous trainings, right? But is there more we can do with it? The answer is yes. Because when you integrate the physiology, which is the breathing and the posture, with the imagination and movement, you create a powerful connection inside of your body, a powerful connection inside all the different divisions of your nervous system that causes an amplification of the effect. Okay? So, pillars of power is a compound technique. So, to learn, remember, a compound technique is a technique made up of smaller pieces. So how many of you, by show of hands in the chat, are familiar with energy spinning? Just if you're familiar with it, go ahead and type that in the chat. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, how many of you are familiar with our technique we call color breathing? Excellent. All right, you guys are rocking. I can tell who's paid attention to the webinars. Spinning, tell you what, there's a lot of juice behind spinning, guys. There's a lot more that we can do with it, and a lot more that we have done. Color breathing too, right? You can actually do color breathing on animals. We discovered this. Some of our students were having animals or pets that were suffering from physical ailments and stuff like that, and they used a form of biproxy color breathing to actually heal their pet. It was really cool. So there are more transpersonal ways or external ways of doing with this stuff. But how many of you? Let's close the loop on the reticular activating system really quickly. How many people here, again, by show of hands, remember when I talked about the emotional refractory period? So Irene needs to learn spinning. Okay, Nathan. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept of the emotional refractory period, let's start there. The human nervous system has a mechanism or a device in it at any given moment that determines what's the most important thing to pay attention to in your environment at any given moment. Let me say that two more times. The human being has within him a mechanism that determines what to pay attention to in your environment at any given moment. That same mechanism will also help to determine the meaning that you assign to those data points. So, for example, I have a pair of computer glasses here, right? If I come into my room, into my study, and I've got a headache and my eyes are hurting, and I know I need to stare at the computer for 27 hours, I'm going to see these computer glasses and I'm going to, oh, thank God. Thank God they're here, right? But if I walk into the room and my eyes are fine and I'm happy and I'm all charged up and I look at these glasses and I'm going to go, meh, I don't need those today, right? Same glasses, right? Same glasses, same David, right? Same study, same environment, different state. The state you're in determines what you pay attention to first and the meanings that you assign to that. Let me say that two more times. The feeling state that you're in determines what in your environment you pay attention to first and the meaning that you assign to it. And this goes back directly to our concept of lucky people. Okay? There are approximately 5, potentially 6, depending on how you slice it, characteristics that all lucky people share. The very first one of which is they identify as being lucky. They identify as someone to whom good things not only can happen, but most often do, right? We've all met these people, right? These are people who can be walking down the street, step in a pile of dog poop, go to clean their shoe off and find like a gold coin in it or a diamond ring or something like that. Us, we just mess up our shoes and get stinky hands, right? Anybody know the people like that? It just anything that can happen will wind up, even if it, on the surface it seems like a not so great thing. It's suddenly they just come up roses all the time. Anybody know people like that? Don't you hate those people? Right? But what if that attribute, what if that phenomena could be cultivated? What if there was a series of processes that we could practice every day that would cause first our nervous system to be primed to generate more lucky occurrences, but the longer we did it, it would actually program and prime the electromagnetic fields around our body to manipulate probabilities. Like you have this your own luck field around you that would just pull random good things into your life. What would happen to your life if you could do something like that? Type it in the chat. What would your life be like? Would you get more dates? Would you make more money? Right? Would you feel a lot more confident? Would you have a lot more faith in the higher power? Okay. That, my friends, is what my study has been on now for the last probably 2 years. I've known about this particular phenomena and I've been researching it for a better part of 10 years, right? If you've been on Planet David for any length of time, you've heard me talk about the 5 traits of lucky people and pillars of power and the identity by design process and things of that nature. Well, now I've got advanced students now who can magnetize metal just by holding it. Like they can literally take a pile, like a knife and a fork, from off the table in a diner, and in 5 minutes they're picking up paper clips with them, right? I've got students now who can take a zucchini. Weird as this sounds, they can take a zucchini, they can slice it, put it back together at a right angle, and actually heal it so strongly that you can hang a bag. You can hang a bag from the zucchini and put bottles of water in it, and it won't break. Right? These are my students doing this. Okay, so that all sounds really bizarre, and it sounds like a big claim. It's actually really easy to do if if your state is right. And it's not the state you would think. You have to be positive for sure. But in order to pull that off, you actually have to let go of things, which is again where the first part of the transformation work that we do in Planet David is really about, is getting out of your own way. Oops, sorry, I shrank. See, I knew this would happen. Hold on. All right, let's see if I can. All right, you're just gonna have to deal with me the way I am, I guess. All right. Actually, Nathan, that's exactly what I saw. The first time I saw the cucumber thing, right, or the zucchini thing, I was like, wow. If we can do that with why can't we do that with bones? And so that's actually now where I'm taking a lot of that stuff. Is I'm saying, okay, in my medical qigong, I can do this with an egg. I can do this with vegetables, right? I can even take two vegetables that don't even belong together, like a zucchini and a um, like a squash, and I can weld them together. So it's only a bit of extension that where you should be able to do this with bones, but I don't know anybody who's going to let us play with that. Jerry, can we do it with a wound? I don't see why not. I think there's probably a few more variables in there because we're dealing with counter intentions. Um, but again, I didn't want to. I wasn't going to talk about that, but it's important to understand where these things take you as you start working with these more primal, practical, pragmatic transformations, all using the same technology. Your nervous system is going to evolve, and as it evolves, more of you comes online. I'm not special. My students aren't special. All of you can do all of these things. I promise you, all of you can do all of these things. But we have to start somewhere. We have to start with something that's not quite so outside the scope of what people think is possible. So we take you in baby steps, right? Spinning something away, color breathing something away. We build that ability to receive that information for you. So let's go back to this. So you can develop through this practice of pillars of power and the other techniques within the identity by design silo. And pillars of power is one of 7 techniques in the pillars of power system, or not the pillars of power, the identity by design system. So we're only going to be talking about technique number 4 today, but it's a powerful one. And the reason that we're going to emphasize this today is because if you can step into a state, aka an identity state, that allows you to see the world a certain way, then your nervous system will pull things into your awareness that reinforces and re-triggers that state. And that, my friends, is the emotional refractory period. If you walk into a room in a positive state and there are 10 things in that room that you can pay attention to, 8 of them are negative, right? And 2 of them are positive. If you walk into that room in a positive state, your nervous system will automatically orient on the positive elements in that room. It's primed to do that. It's primed to seek out the things in your external environment that mirror and support what's going on in your internal environment. The inverse is also true. If you're moving through the world rehearsing all the crap that you have to deal with, all the lousy things people said or did to you, that creates a body feeling, that creates a negative state. You walk into that same room where there's 8 positive and 10 and 2 negative, or 8 negative and 2 positives, right? You're going to orient on all the negative things. It's really that simple. You're going to see and experience on the outside what you're doing on the inside. Does that make sense? Okay. And this is where the work is, because the work is how do we get from that default negative state into something far more positive, far more useful, right? How do we do that? Well, the first thing that starts is understanding that everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. Your kinesthetics are the most powerful driving force of your consciousness in your physical body. You need to understand that. The bridge into all of this other stuff that I'm teasing you with and talking about, things of that nature, starts with understanding the power of your kinesthetics or your feelings. And if you can do that, then you can master everything else. State control, as we define it, the ability to enter or exit any psycho-emotional state on demand at will in any situation or circumstance, is the Jedi skill. And to the degree that you can master it, everything else opens up to you. Okay? So let me give you the 5 characteristics of lucky people. And then we're going to do a couple of drills. And then what I'll do is I'll show you the how to get access to the entire system. I'll take you as far as I can in the time that we have. Um, and I will show you where to go to get access to everything that's going to let you do all these amazingly cool stuff. Is that fair? If you think that's fair, type that in the chat for me. Okay, cool. Excellent. All right. So let's start with the 5 characteristics of lucky people. First one, you must identify as being lucky. In other words, if I get into a room of 30 people and I start to talk about luck, within the first 15 minutes of those people showing up, the truly lucky people will actually say, "Yeah, I'm a pretty lucky person. I'm really glad to be here." They'll self-identify as being lucky. So this is the first big leap that we have to make, is we have to identify as being somebody who is lucky. Okay? And the identity by design system is designed to help you do that, right? This is step 4. You must identify as being lucky. The second one is you must be kind to yourself. You hear what I said? You must be kind to yourself. Now, this is really powerful, and it's a lot deeper than what you might think. How many people here have done any NLP or anything like that? Okay. So, in NLP, when you're going to study NLP, one of the things that you'll hear, if the trainer is worth their salt, one of the things you'll hear them talk about is the power of your tonality, right? And one of the things they're going to ask when you're going to communicate with somebody, they're going to ask you to match their tonality. Is it a happy tone? Is it a sad tone? Is it an angry tone? Things of that nature. So NLP was really, in modern terms, one of the first pseudo disciplines or pseudosciences to really study the impact of tonality on the nervous system, to study the impact of tonality on your state in terms of mood. And here's what my other teachers from other systems have taught me. Your nervous system is tone driven. Your nervous system also does not make the distinction between yelling at somebody outside of you and yelling at yourself. This goes back to embodied cognition and different energy healing schools. If I yell at somebody in anger, or I put somebody down, or I demean somebody, or I criticize somebody, consciously we're thinking we're directing it at the person, the target of our criticism or our disdain, for lack of a better word. But what's happening inside of you is your nervous system thinks you're yelling at it. Your nervous system thinks you're criticizing it. And it has all the same responses that the person being criticized has. Right? So you are not your body, but you live in this body. And this body is like it's like the most loyal pet you have. But if you're constantly yelling at your pet, what happens to your pet? If you yell, think about it. If you yelled at your dog every single day and didn't say anything nice to it, or maybe for every 10 nasty things you said one nice thing, how would your relationship with that dog be, or that pet be, right? How would the health of that animal be like? This is not a rhetorical question, by the way. Think about it for a moment, because I really want you to understand what being kind to yourself actually means, right? You see, a lot of people, when they think about the dialogue running in their head, they're paying attention to the words that they speak, the words that they hear. But what's more important is the tonality that those words are being delivered in. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? It's not the words that screw with you, it's the tone. So when you're kind to yourself, the idea is you talk to yourself like you're your favorite pet, like you're your favorite child. You want to speak to yourself in a loving, nurturing, you can do it tonality, right? If you make a mistake, how would you gently, lovingly correct a child? Would you bark at him and yell at him? Right? Well, sometimes we do, right? But if you want to get the most out of your nervous system, if you want to expand your capabilities, you must flood the system with pleasure. You must flood the system with positivity. The fastest way for you to do that outside of physiology, posture, and breathing is the tonality you use to talk to yourself inside your mind. Let's play a game. Who wants to play a game? Go ahead and type that in the chat. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes and think of that voice in your head that's always talking shit to you. Right? Think of the voice inside your head that's always talking shit. In case you're wondering, it's the voice in your head that just said what voice? Okay? Listen to it and point to where around you hear it from. Where's it coming from? Just point to it. Okay? Now listen to it, and now when you can hear it, type I hear it in the chat. And then type in what tonality it is, or what's the tone sound like. Edie says whiny, fast. Okay. Now, how many of you are familiar with Disney characters? Condescending? Okay. Now, here's all I want you to do. Take your favorite Disney character and change the voice. Let the voice say the same words, but now change the voice that you're listening to the voice of your favorite Disney character, and notice what happens. Jerry says, ah ha ha ha, right? I'm laughing. Tell me things like explaining. You're laughing. All you did, all you did was change the tone. You didn't change the location. You didn't turn it into a color. You didn't change the words. You didn't give affirmations. All you did was change the tonality. What if you actually practice that intentionally? What if for 20 minutes a day, you just sat or stood Memorize, imagine happy things and practiced that tone. That 20 minutes would be the most powerful 20 minutes of your life. Why? Because the moment you start imagining good things and you turn the tonality, the body responds with a cascade of positive neurotransmitters. Your reticular activating system shifts, and all of a sudden, things that used to trigger negative states are now triggering positive flow states. Okay? It's a technique. And you use that technique until you don't need the technique anymore. Right? But again, it has to be something you do with intention. It's something you need to, I'm going to do this now and I'm going to make it fun. Right? And if you did that 5 minutes out of every hour of the day, you think you might have a different experience in your day to day life? So much cooler when it's Simba that's frustrated with you, right? Right? This is powerful. That's lesson number 2. 5 characteristics of lucky people. You identify as being lucky, you're kind to yourself. Okay? This is one aspect of kindness to self. You're specifically vague. So what does that mean? There's a lot of conflict or controversy in people who argue that having too much specificity is a bad thing, not enough specificity is a bad thing. And the truth is that when we're talking about luck, we're not talking about working hard. And this is one of those forks in the road that you'll see many times with people who are naturally lucky versus people who are very, very industrious and very, very ambitious and very, very go-getter kinds of energy. Now, that not that a lucky person can't be a go-getter, but the way they go about it is different. When a person who is naturally lucky makes a plan, it looks something like this. Let's say that I have 2 people. Person A is our hardworking, industrious, go-getter, type A personality, right? They're going to go after things. And person B is our lucky person. Okay. So this person, if you ask them what they want to do or what they want to be when they grow up, they'll say, I want to be a world famous heart surgeon. I want to work at Cedars-Sinai, and I want to work with the world's leaders of an elite. Right? I'm going to go to this school, and I'm going to get this grade. They're going to give you in very, very explicit, down to the micro detail of how their plan is laid out. Okay, and they're going to get out into the world and they're going to work that plan. And they may get it, they may not. But it won't be luck that gets them there. It's going to be hard work and dedication and drive. And there's a place for that. There's absolutely a place for that. In fact, most people need that more than anything else. However, that is not luck. That is not probability. Okay? Person B, who is our naturally lucky person, if you ask them what they want to do or what they want to be, they will say, I want to be a doctor who helps people. That's it. They have the goal, they have the end result, they let the universe take care of the hows and the whens and the whats and the fors, right? So those are 2 very radical extremes. But this tends to be something that lucky people have in spades. They have this ability to set an outcome and let everything take care of itself. They just start on the track, they start moving towards the goal, and they adapt and they roll with the punches and things, and the universe kind of finds those little shortcuts and inroads and things of that nature. Not easy to do, right? Because you have to let go. You have to be more open to things. You have to give up control to get that kind of control. That's where people who want to cultivate this, that's where they come into the conflict, because we're indoctrinated into a society that says state your goals, write them down, plan your work your plan, and you'll get there. And that works sometimes, right? The problem comes when you come to the extreme where you've planned out everything so fully and completely. There's no flexibility in your plan. Then you become a prisoner of it. Whereas lucky people, they have bullet points that they're going to hit, and how they get there, they'll let the universe figure that out. So lucky people identify as being lucky. They're kind to themselves. When they make a mistake, they laugh at themselves, and they move on. They don't beat themselves up. They don't chastise themselves. And this is an important thing when we going back to being kind to yourself. The people who map things out to the nth degree, if anything goes wrong, if anything deviates from the plan, they beat themselves up. You can't beat yourself up if you want to be able to tap into the full potentials of your nervous system. You have to let those things go. You have to have more flexibility, more adaptability, right? And this is, again, one of the reasons why lucky people tend to be more lucky. Because a person who has this micrometer like focus, work this and then do this, then do this, then do this, they only see that plan. They don't see the shortcuts. They don't see the opportunity. They don't see the nonlinear approach to bypassing 4 or 5 steps. They're locked into a plan. The lucky person isn't that way. The lucky person is someone who sees the big picture and follows the coincidences. Okay? This is something that actually kind of happens as a byproduct of advanced meditations and things of that nature. You'll start to feel these different like you'll think you see a linear path, but you'll wind up doing this, right? Because there's things in the way that you can't see. You guys with me so far? Is this useful, helpful? Okay. Hold on a second. Somebody just jumped in here. So Jerry says he's emotionally numb. Okay. Well, oops, I got small again. Look. I don't I I think it's actually something to do with my Zoom. But all right. So if you're emotionally numb, remember that numbness is a feeling too. Generally speaking, the more numbness we have, the more emotional insulation we have, or the more energetic armoring we have around a particular issue. Depending on your resources, it's best to get help with those things. But I would start with pretending to feel something. The fastest way to bypass emotional armoring, the fastest way to create a state or access a state that you feel blocked from achieving is to pretend you've already got it. That's the fastest way to do it. I can sit there and explain all the reasons why and how it creates different pathways through the brain and to the same information and stuff like that. How it's a metaphor for the actual. I could tell you all that stuff. The bottom line is, if there's a feeling you want to have and you can't feel it, then ask yourself the magic question: what might that be like? Ask yourself that question and imagine what it might be like. Then ask, what might I see in something like that? What might I hear? What might I smell? What might I taste? And by asking those questions, you will prime your nervous system to start generating its idealized version of that experience based on what it's able and willing to do at that time. And just rehearsing that imagery, rehearsing the sounds, the smells, the taste over and over and over again will start to generate the resource. Jerry, actually, the program I'm gonna explain to you, or I'm gonna share with you in just a few minutes, has all the techniques that you need for doing that. Okay. Did anybody else lose volume besides Victor? Okay. All right. So Victor, I think it's something to do with your system because everybody else is hearing us just fine. Okay. But this idea of playing pretend, guys, the human imagination, and especially the part of us about that learned that understands pretending, is one of the most powerful unsung heroes of the human nervous system. If you can learn, again, it's in the Bible, if you can learn how to be as little children, which is all about the ability to pretend, to let go and become absorbed in a process, then you can communicate with your nervous system in powerful ways that have profound, profound ramifications throughout your neurology. Method acting can help. Yes, Julie. In fact, I've often recommended that for those of you who want to be able to tap into those things more effectively, take an acting class. Actors are especially method actors, are the best hypnotists on the planet because their whole craft is about doing exactly what we're describing, right? It's all about stepping into a persona and pulling everybody around you into that same world. Okay? There are no more powerful hypnotists on the planet than actors, right? When they use their powers for good. Some of them they use their powers to whoever writes the check, right? But that's just, the way it is. It's a business, right? But truthfully, if you want to tap into and really expand your capabilities, method acting or any form of acting will help, improv will help, but method acting seems to give you the most structured approach to how to do that consistently. Okay? Anyway, so lucky people identify as being lucky. Yeah. If it keeps coming back, Jerry, then you have to magic frame it. So the transformational triad, color breathing, energy spinning, magic frame. Those three things will help you kick it in the butt. If you need more help, get the program I'm going to be offering shortly, and you'll have all the tools that you need. If you more one-on-one help, I do see clients, and Mia will post our contact information for those of you who want to work one-on-one with me. I am available for those kinds of things. Okay, I'm not cheap, but I am available. So that being said, that's the big three. Uh, identify as being lucky, kind to self, specifically vague, extroverted. Now, when I say extrovert, about 90% of you felt your sphincter shrivel up. I gotta talk to people? Oh shit. Yes. This is one of the things that holds a lot of people back from maximizing their luck potential. One of the things about naturally lucky people is that they're always making connections. Now that doesn't mean they have a lot of deep, intimate friends, but they're always connecting. Even if it ever goes so much beyond a Facebook friending or a high five at a concert or sharing an email address, these people are constantly making connections. And because they're constantly reaching out, creating connections with people, information and opportunities flow to them through those people. So again, many of my students, many of the people who gravitate to Planet David are very focused. We're very driven to achieve. We're achievers in this world, but we're also kind of on the introverted side, right? We're kind of in our own little world. We're very focused on what we want. But if you want to really maximize your impact, maximize your luck quotient, you actually need to create connections with people, right? Because you never know. You absolutely 100% never know when an opportunity is going to come along a pathway that you created 10 years ago. And that's how luck operates. It's not linear. If you have these elements in place, then things will flow to you. And this is the thing you need to understand about this kind of manifestation. It's based on opportunity and probability. It's not based on setting an intention, putting it out there, and doing like something like image cycling, which is what we call deliberate or linear manifestation. When you create this kind of an energy or a program in your system, all your luck will seem random, right? You set up the conditions, you let the system run, and everything takes care of itself. It's not I got my hands on the controls and I'm driving everything, right? The only thing that you're doing to manifest this kind of phenomena in your life is you are cultivating the specific attributes that allow the system to do what it knows how to do. The luck literally comes to you if you set up the conditions for that to happen. Does that make sense? So Nathan says, using your state control and echoing techniques, people seem to seek interaction. They will, 100%. 100%. If you're doing the influence techniques that I teach you, right, which are already more advanced than 99.99% of everybody out there, which is it's our kindergarten stuff, right? Everything I teach you is about influence. It's influence at different levels of experience. Some of you are still at the echo technique level, and you're going to get huge, 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 huge. Sorry, I had a moment there. Huge bumps in your ability to influence and be charismatic and create connections and create the relationships that you want very, very powerfully just by the echo technique. But if that were all there was, and there wouldn't be more to, it's just the beginning. It's kind of confusing. So what specifically is kind of confusing you, Lottie? Go ahead and type that in the chat. All right. So that's 4 of the 5. Extroverted, specifically vague, kind to self, identify as being lucky. There's one more, and I will have to circle back, right? So one of the ways that we can begin to access this process or to start to cultivate these attributes is through the pillars of power technique. You thought I forgot about that, didn't you? Right? Well, there's 4 states that we like to teach you in Identity by Design. These 4 states are positive states that will open the heart, but they will also prime your reticular activating system to see the world from a certain perspective, right? Those 4 states are playfulness, curiosity, victory, and relentlessness. Now, whether you're someone who wants to explore the path of luck or someone who wants to focus on the path of linear creation and manifestation, right, where you're going to put in the work and get the result, not worry about luck, you're just going to do it yourself, right? Relentlessness is the backbone of all manifestation. If you decide that you want something and you create the intention that you are going to do whatever it takes, no matter what, you will eventually be successful if you actually do whatever it takes, whether you're embarking on the path of linear manifestation or probability, right? Relentlessness is the super glue of success. Okay. The other states just determine how you take the trip, right? So curiosity allows us to move through the world asking better questions and becoming very open to information. Playfulness allows us to see everything as an adventure. Victory gives us the sense that we are worthy, we're always enough, and we can move through the world and deserve good things. All of these states are very powerful in what they do to our consciousness, but even more powerful in that they determine the filters of what we pay attention to in the world. When we move through the world embodying these 4 basic states, everyone will notice you when you walk in the room. You will move through the world with a power and a presence and a confidence and a charisma that just warms people and pulls people to you. Okay? But not only that, you will perceive the world through the eyes of opportunity. You will see opportunities that other people didn't see because their state wouldn't let them. And that was the big piece. Circling back to our luck lecture. The qualities I've given you were not just something I pulled out of a hat. These were the fruits of several studies on people who were naturally lucky. They literally took 3 groups of people: a group of people who considered themselves to be naturally lucky, a group of people who were average, and a group of people who considered themselves unlucky, right? And they rent this particular study took place in the UK. They rented a restaurant, filled it with actors, and they placed a 20-pound note on the floor. And then they sent each group, one person at a time, into the restaurant. And what they wanted to see was how many of the lucky people would find the 20-pound note, how many wouldn't. How many of the average people would find the 20-pound note, how many wouldn't. How many of the unlucky people would find the 20-pound note, how many wouldn't. Well, 100% of the lucky people saw the note the second they walked into the restaurant. They went right to it. As you can probably guess, about 50%, give or take, of the average people saw the 50-pound or the 20-pound note. Half didn't. As far as we know, the unlucky people are still trying to find the restaurant. It was that profound. The state you're in will dramatically determine what you see, a better word, what you perceive and become aware of, and what you don't. And that's how luck works. That's how lucky people leap ahead of people who work hard. They see shortcuts that other people didn't see because they weren't in the right state of consciousness. Does that make sense? Okay. So, if it's okay with you, I told you that I would show you how to get access to the full and complete system of what I'm about to teach. When I'm done with this, I'm going to circle back and we're going to actually do the Pillars of Powers technique. Is it okay to take some time and show you this entire system or how to get access to this entire system? If it's okay, type it in the chat. Is there any relation of luck with intuition? Yes. Yes, there's a lot. There's actually quite a bit of nonlinear information processing that goes with that. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the Mind Control Mastery Home Study Program. This is a program that I've spent a lot of years defining and creating and sharing with people because the way we're commonly taught to deal with this stuff just doesn't work. But if you follow the programs, if you follow the trainings in these courses that I'm going to share with you, you're going to discover an increased ability to influence your mind and body. You're going to amplify your luck. You're going to remove the things that hold you back. You're going to remove blocks to success, limiting beliefs. You're going to learn how to change that tonality in your head so that it's a voice that's constantly inspiring you and uplifting you instead of holding you back. Okay? It's going to teach you how to manifest and program your mind for wealth and abundance. You're going to master persuasion and influence. Just understanding how the pillars of power states enhance your internal charisma, your authority, your authenticity will dramatically 10x every influence technique that you know. It'll automatically transform your relationships because the things that used to trigger you about the other person will no longer trigger you. It'll help your children because the things that trigger them, they learn from you more often than not. So by healing yourself, you learn how to heal other people directly and indirectly. The byproduct of a lot of these things is unstoppable confidence and charisma. You'll move through. I told you earlier, if you learn how to really do the pillars of power technique, when you walk into a room, everybody's going to feel it and they're going to feel it palpably, right? If you take the time to really internalize and embody the states, it's going to help you break free of fear and procrastination. It's going to allow you to create powerful, lasting change in a very profound, very fast way, right? Because most of the people then Planet David are just like me. They're very impatient. They want to get this shit handled right now. Now, this offer's good for today, May 12th, 2026, until 11:59 p.m. So if you're some other part of the world, 11:59 p.m. where you are, if you're in an earlier time zone, it's 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. Okay. So what do we start with? We're going to start with the Mind Control Mastery core program. This is 14 videos and it covers the 7-stage identity by design process. Now, this process is going to allow you to systematically remove all the negativity you didn't even know you had, right? This is, again, if you're familiar with our gray room process or our safe space inductions or our emotional, universal solvent, these are all programs or techniques that are designed to allow you to find stuff that your nervous system has acquired you didn't even know was there and get rid of it, right? We're going to teach you how to remove the unconscious safety rules. And this is, again, going back to when I was talking to the gentleman earlier who was feeling numb. A lot of times your nervous system has an agenda. It has a reason for holding on to a negative feeling. The second technique in the identity by design silo allows you to systematically remove those so your system will upgrade itself automatically to a better version, right? We're going to teach you how to change the negative voices in your head that hold you back. Oh, maybe I talked about this a little bit earlier, right? Install the 4 pillars of personal power and success. That's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go deep dive into how to do the 4 pillars. We're going to walk through it, and then I'll let you guys take it out into the world and test drive it. Right? We're going to teach you how to install your own personal success template into your genetic memory. This is a process we call the womb of eternity. Uh, and it's really where we go back and using Bruce Lipton's technologies and things like epigenetics, we actually install inside of you a program that has all of the pillars of power, the general negativity clearing, the specific negativity clearing, all the other techniques. It installs it at an early age so that your nervous system feels like it's known it all your life, and it starts automatically applying those techniques to every memory that you have in such a way that everything about you continues to change. It creates generative change for each day beyond the intervention. We're going to teach you how to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people you really admire. So if there's someone who's like, maybe you want to be maybe there's a professional sports player or a persuasion expert or a motivational speaker or a chef whose skills you want to have. We'll show you how to take all their skills and overlay it like a template into your own neurology so that your nervous system has something to grow into. It'll help you to rapidly accelerate the speed with which you acquire new skills and abilities, and it'll become your own personal blueprint for success. It comes with a full manual, the Identity by Design course manual, and we'll talk about the community in just a moment. So this whole value is $2,497, but we're going to add a whole bunch of other free bonuses to make sure that this gives you the greatest degree of transformation in the shortest amount of time possible. So if you stick with us and you click on the links when they appear, we're also going to include the following special bonuses for you. This is our Mind Control Mastery Home Study course. It's going to teach you how to unlock and remove blocks to your health, wealth, and happiness, become magnetized for money, influence people more easily and ethically, find and remove the hidden negativity, clear up issues that just don't seem to go away, program your mind to attract the things you want, change what you believe you deserve and more, delete negative energy and memories from your past, install the traits, qualities, and characteristics that you want more of, and we're going to teach you the most powerful personal transformation and manifestation techniques I've ever come across. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased. I'm saying that because I've tested them, right? Um, so that's all a second. So this is the hidden laws of attraction. This will be your first bonus. And again, it's going to teach you how to unlock the power of your subconscious mind to find and remove the blocks to health, wealth, and happiness you didn't even know you had. How to become magnetic for money. There's a certain mindset that people need to embrace that allows you to become more magnetic to financial opportunities. We're going to teach you how to do that. We're going to teach you how to influence people remotely, right? How to find and remove hidden negativity, clear up issues that just don't seem to go away. The most powerful way to give yourself affirmations I've ever come across. And it's so powerful because it actually bypasses your limiting beliefs and creates a belief system where you're allowed to have those things. It's very, very cool. And it unlocks massive amounts of internal energy that you can use towards achieving and manifesting the things that you want. And it's in perfect harmony and alignment with the way your neurology naturally wants to process information, right? I'm going to teach you how to attract the things you want and change what you feel you deserve. This is a big deal. A lot of times there's things that we want in life, there's things that we want to manifest, but there's a part of us that feels like we just don't deserve to have it. I'm going to teach you how to actually change what you think you deserve. And I think in this particular version, I might have actually shown you a more black hat technique to actually get things you don't deserve by helping other people get it. It's really cool. I learned that. That's another one I learned from Dr. John. We'll teach you how to sanitize all the negativity from your past, how to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of naturally lucky people, and to discover the most powerful engine of personal transformation and manifestation ever. If you're familiar with our image cycling technology, that's what I'm talking about. We will go deep dive into how to utilize that engine of transformation to get whatever you want. And I've manifested some patently impossible things, including 2 doctorates, using variations of this image cycling process along with other things. So when I talk about these things, I'm not talking about them from a theoretical perspective. All right. I've literally experienced reality rearranging itself to allow me to get access to things I wasn't supposed to get access to, right? Um, so it's a $1,497 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free because, again, we've talked about it. And we want you to understand how it all fits together. We want you to be able to influence yourself and then to influence the universe around you, not just the people around you, but the universe itself. So this is a $3,944 combined value. We're also going to include, for those of you who are looking for an extra revenue stream or an extra income stream, we're going to include the real world hypnosis and hypnotherapy Identity by Design certification home study course. Now, up until very, very recently, if you were going to get certified in hypnosis with me, you had to show up live. We're now offering a very special distance certification program. So I'll explain with you how this works. When you go through the hypnotherapy identity by design home study course and you complete the training, you reach out to me. I will set up a time and a date for your practical. In other words, all I want you to do is submit a video or two of you doing these techniques with some other person successfully. And then I will give you a link to take a special exam. It's about 80 or 90 questions. You take the exam and you pass the exam with 80% or better. Then we will review you and we will actually issue you a certificate. So there's a practical exam and there's an online exam. So for those of you who want to add an extra revenue stream but can't travel, this is an opportunity for you to get certified in our form of hypnosis and actually start making money helping other people, right? You'll learn how to hypnotize people anytime, anywhere, under any situation or circumstance for any reason, how to remove their blocks to success, how to find and remove the hidden negativity they didn't need to even know they had, how to clear up stuff that goes away and comes back. We'll teach you how to change the crappy voices in their heads, right? So it builds them up and becomes their best cheerleader, right? How to resolve and install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of people who they want to be more like, right? With everything we've talked about doing for you, this qualifies you to teach you to help other people do it as well, right? Now, remember that qualification is not the same as authorization. So whenever you can learn these techniques, but if you're going to go out and use them professionally, it's important to make sure that you're applying them in strict accordance with the laws of the area in which you live, right? And because you live all over the world, that is something you're going to have to do your due diligence on. But you will have the skill sets and you will be tested and you will be vetted. It's a $1,497 value, but if you use this to actually help people, you can actually earn that back with your very first client, right? It's a total value on this. We're going to give it to you for free. It's a $5,491 value. We're also going to include perhaps one of the single most important classes you can take once you have your state control and all those other identity level processes down. And this is the real world conversational hypnosis, stealth CPI, universal persuasion protocol level 1. This is the most powerful conversational hypnosis program in the world on the market right now. If you want to be able to hypnotize anyone, anytime, anywhere during normal conversations, have them hanging on your every word, and really influence people to like, love, and trust you in the shortest amount of time possible, all while being 100% fair and ethical, this is the program that will do that for you. It's important to be able to influence yourself. It's vitally important that once you have the ability to influence yourself, that you can now influence the people around you through the power of your words. You learn to influence the people through the power of your state in the previous trainings. This one allows you to put that same mojo into the language that you're using. It can be used in any form of verbal or linguistic communication. It'll work in text. It'll work in email. It'll work on video. It'll work on memes. It'll work on shorts. Anything where language is involved, this will dramatically amplify your ability to get people excited and trusting and ready to do what you want them to do and feel good about it, right? It's completely 100% ethical and it will actually protect you from being influenced against your will by other people trying to use other forms of influence or coercive technologies. It's really, really important that you have this. So we're going to give it to you for free. It's a $1,950 value. Total combined value on this is $7,441. And then we're going to teach you probably one of the most important techniques that you can apply everywhere from now on. And this is, again, this is called renegade reframing. And this is the ability to rapidly change any belief, overcome any objection, or win any argument in minutes. Think about this for a moment. What if you had 14 different ways to absolutely overcome or beat any limiting belief, any objection, any excuse, um, any person that doesn't want to do what you want them to do and is giving you a BS excuse for it? What if you had 14 different ways to instantly change their mind? That's pardon me. That's exactly what this program will do for you. And the first person you're going to use it on is you. Because in the first exercise of this course, once we explain what reframes are and how they work, you write down all the beliefs that hold you back, and then as you learn these patterns, you attack each of your limiting beliefs with each of these patterns, so that by the time you're done, you've changed your brain at least 14 times for each of the beliefs that used to hold you back. And once you've gone through that process, you can't think the same way anymore. It frees your brain completely from the limiting beliefs that hold you back or keep you from taking action. And of course, because you're practicing on yourself, you automatically can translate that ability into your interactions with everyone else you meet. So if you have a difficult employee, a problem child, a spouse who likes to argue, you find yourself being gaslit by, you know, manipulators out in the real world, you can instantly turn the tables on them and put the discussion or put the interaction back in your court, all ethically and honestly. Okay, it's a $1,950 value. So the total combined value on this is $9,391 if you were to do the math. So let's just review that. The Master Your Mind Home Study course is the 14 video core Identity by Design Secrets of Personal Transformation program. It's the Hidden Laws of Attraction, Mind, Magic, and Manifestation Masterclass, the Real World Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Certification Program, the Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol, Renegade Reframing. All total combined value is $9,391. Now, clearly, we're not going to make you pay $9,931, even though it's actually worth it, right? So again, we're not going to make you pay that. If we took $4,000 off, would that be good? No, we're not going to do that either. What about 3347? Would a third of the price be a good deal? Yeah, that would be a really good deal. In fact, I used to sell packages like this for this much, but we're actually not going to even do that, right? What about 1497? Would that be fair for all those courses and all that material and all that ability and all those skills? Yeah, we're not going to do that either. So for those of you who are ready to go, you can get everything I've just described and maybe a bit more for one low installment of just $797. All you got to do to get yours is go, or you can break that up into 3 easy installments of $297 each. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.nlppower.com/MIND. Click this link right now. Get your spot, because there may or may not be some super fast action bonuses awaiting people who click that link right now. Now, for those of you who, as I was going through this package, if you've been around Planet David for a while, you may have some of these programs, and that's okay. If you have some of the programs in this package and you don't want to duplicate, just click your link, reach out to me at nlppower.com, or give us a call at 858-282-4663. That's 858-282-4663. And let us know that you've bought the package and you want to substitute courses. And then what we'll do is we'll go back, we'll get on the phone with you or get on the email with you, and we will find a course in our inventory of the same, that is of equal or lesser value, and we will allow you to customize and substitute your programs so that you get a package where there's no duplications. Okay? So click your links right now, www.nlppower.com/MIND. Now, everything in the program is 100% guaranteed. So if you're not satisfied, use our product religiously, zealously. Let us reach out to us when you need help. Use it for 60 days. If by the end of 60 days you're not 100% convinced that this is the fastest, most effective way to manifest more money, find the love you want, attract more success, manifest your dreams, feel more secure, confident, and powerful, if you're not honestly seeing more wins in your life and enjoying more of what you truly want in life, pick up the phone, let us know. We will refund your money, no risk, right? We want you to succeed. That's what we do. And so you're no good to you're not I'll be very, very blunt, you're no good to us if it doesn't work for you, right? But if it does work, it'll be the most powerful investment you've ever made. And if you're not satisfied for any reason, all you got to do is pick up the phone, let us know, and we'll even let you keep the courses you've downloaded for free, just for trying it out. Okay? So click this link right now, www.nlppower.com/mind, It should be showing up in your chat as well. Again, this is all good until tonight, May 12th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. If, however, you're one of the people who click those links right now, before I personally, in real time, log off the webinar, if you click that link right now, I'm going to include these powerful fast action bonuses. First and foremost, I'm going to give you a 3-month trial membership to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. This is a program we've been running for literally the better part of 15 years. We meet on the third Saturday of every month, and from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., we drill down on exactly the skills you most need and want to learn about until you can do them in your sleep. Then we send you off into the world to apply those skills and get what you want. You come back the next month, we're going to do the same thing again. What do you want to learn today? 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 We're going to create a lesson plan for you right then and there, and we're going to drill you on those skills. There is so much energy and power in the mastermind because it takes you from access to information, which is what this webinar is about, to ownership of the information or embodiment of the information. In other words, anybody can buy a program, and that's where you start. That gives you access to the information. But if you really want to own the information, then you must invest again in time, energy, effort to do the drills and get the skills. And to do that most effectively, you need a community. You need support. And that's what the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program is really about. You will not get a certificate from the mentoring program. What you will get is exactly that, mentoring and support. It's your opportunity to hang out with people just like you who want to learn the same things you want to learn in a small group with me, getting the exact help you need to do the exact things that you want to do in the way you want it out in the real world in a testable way. Some of the best people I've met, some of the finest people I've ever met have come through this mastermind. They are the most wonderful, welcoming, giving community of people I've ever experienced. And I'm not just saying that because, I've been part of my tribe. People come back for years just for the friends that they've made in this group. It's a $1,597 value, and that's not accounting the 15 years of archived video footage from every single training session we've ever done. We have videotaped every single training session we've done since October 2010. And we've archived those on our NLP Power website. We've archived those on on our private members only section on our YouTube channel. We've archived a lot of it on our Facebook pages. Right? As a member of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, you get full access to the entire 15-year archive for as long as you're in the program. If after 90 days you decide I've got what I needed, I'm ready to take on the world, we will wish you the best of luck. If at the end of 90 days you found your new home and you want to hang out, you want to continue, we'll show you how to extend your membership. Right? All you got to do is click your links and you'll automatically be registered for a 3-month trial membership and access to the 15-year video archive. Okay. Finally, there's a lot of, if you're like me, a lot of us are really impatient. Like we don't want to wade through 40 hours of video before we can start doing something, right? Well, that's why I created the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. Stealth is designed for people to download it tonight, be hypnotizing people tonight. It's literally watch 2 videos, learn the technique, go out into the world, start hypnotizing people. It has some of the most powerful language patterns and simplest language patterns that are already used. It has a video on instant and rapid inductions, a video on lie detection, 4 videos on advanced training in conversational hypnosis. It has the 3 magic questions protocol, which is something I recommend everybody learn. It has the anchors in action video. And it comes with MP3s, it comes with manuals, it comes with transcripts, it comes with workbooks. It is one of the most powerful, comprehensive, accelerated learning systems that I've ever created, and it's yours. As it's absolutely free if you're one of the first 21 people to click the links in your chat right now. It's a $997 value. We're going to give it to you free. Total combined value on this is $11,985. And finally, for those of you who are not necessarily interested in maybe putting out a shingle or becoming certified, but have a lot of stuff that you want to clear up, a lot of stuff that's in your way, a lot of things holding you back. For the next 21 people who click that link right now, you are going to get a free super VIP bonus ticket to our next virtual healing intensive. This is a 3-day live nervous system and subconscious reprogramming experience. We're going to take you step by step by step through guided hypnosis, somatic release, and psychoenergetic healing processes designed specifically to help you release emotional pain and subconscious stress patterns you might not even know that you had, how to eliminate hidden self-sabotage and inner conflict, how to calm and regulate your nervous system, state control on demand, how to remove emotional blocks and limiting beliefs, break free from old identity programming, release anxiety, overwhelm, emotional looping, how to stop recreating the same painful emotional experiences over and over again, how to reconnect with your authentic power and inner peace, to create lasting subconscious transformation. And the best part about this training, ladies and gentlemen, is you don't have to do anything but show up. This particular 3-day intensive is almost like having a personal 3-day healing session with me. I will guide you step by step by step, technique after technique after technique to facilitate your own healing. This is not like all of the other courses I've talked about where I expect you to be able to go out and perform the techniques that I'm teaching you in the real world. This is your chance to get 3 days of concentrated healing in a group session with me, right? There's nothing for you to memorize unless you want to. It's all about clearing your path, resetting your nervous system, getting the blocks removed, healing the pains, physical, mental, and emotional that have been holding you back, and preparing you to take your life to the next level. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free if you're one of the first 21 people to click those links right now. Okay? So once again, this is what we got for you. Secrets of Personality Transformation, that's the core program. The Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course, valued at $1,497. Hidden Laws of Attraction, Manifestation, and Mind Control Mastery, $1,497 value. The Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol, Renegade Reframing, How to Overcome Objections and Conversational Belief Change, NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, the Release and Reset Virtual Healing Intensive. I guess we're down to 19 now. Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. Total combined value on this is $13,982. All you got to do to get yours right now is you can get it all for one low installment of $797. All you got to do to get yours is click the link, www.nlppower.com/MIND. www.nlppower.com/MIND. Okay. Let me go ahead and see if I can. There, I've grown myself again. Excellent. Oops. Okay. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's move this down here. All right. So does anybody have any questions about this package or this program? Well, I don't know why the website's saying that, but the price is $797, right? It's probably a typo. Okay, Mia's updating that now. Susan says, anyone who hasn't done this bundle package, I highly recommend. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate you. What questions do you have for me before we go into part 3? Nobody's got questions? Or you're clicking your links? All right, let's take 2 or 3 minutes, let you guys go ahead and do that. Then we're going to circle back and we're going to do our pillars of power exercise. Okay? In the meantime, I'll field any questions that you have. So Stewart's asking, how do I find time to follow all your programs? Stewart, you don't. You pick one program, and that program should be based on what it is you most want to accomplish right now. And this is why when people come to our live events, we always tell you, before you decide on which packages you want, talk to us first. If you've ever been to our website, and a lot of you have, some of you haven't. If you haven't, we're having a big sale right now. You might want to go check it out. Um, we have over 50 different products or 50 or versions of products. And we cover everything from face reading to energy healing to manifestation, right? Because they're all based on capabilities of the human nervous system, which is where we base our stuff. That's our core, right? Understanding and controlling and directing the human nervous system. And people come in and they want to fix their own stuff. Some people are coaches and therapists. They want to help other people. They want to help their clients. Some people want to build their business or they want to make more sales, right? Some people just want to understand themselves better. And so, depending on what brings you in, depending on what question you most need or want answering, we'll tell you what courses to take first. Now, I will say that even though we have 50 different types of courses out there, the place that most people get the biggest bang for their buck is Identity by Design and Killer Influence. Those two courses are like the prerequisites for all of our other courses that have prerequisites. So, for example, if you're going to do regression, which is coming up in September, you can't get into regression unless you've been through Identity by Design. We've got NLP practitioner certification coming up at the end of the month. Right now, that particular program is open to the general public, but in the future, it will only be available to people who've passed Identity by Design or Killer Influence, right? Um, so those are the two that you generally start with, and that's where I recommend people start. Um, for those of you who aren't interested in maybe doing this professionally or for other people, then start with Secrets of Personality Transformation, which is the very first course in the package that we're offering today. It's a great place to start because it's all about doing this work by yourself, for yourself, on yourself, right? And it translates very, very easily into working with other people if that's a direction you decide that you want to go. Okay. We really want you to become strong and powerful within yourself first, because if you bring a strong identity to any of the applications that we teach, you're going to get more bang for your buck. Inner game precedes outer game, right? What we do on the inside is dramatically important to what comes out. If you're someone who reverses that formula, if you're someone who wants to learn how to do something so they can be something, that's reversing the process. It's not as easy to do it that way, right? Because you tend to be incongruent. Whereas if you become the person who exemplifies or is an avatar of the experiences you want people to have, then anything that comes out of your mouth is automatically right. Your gestures are automatically right. Your body language is automatically right. Reversing that often creates more friction. It's possible to do it that way. It's just not the most efficient way to do it. When you change who you are from the inside out, everything you do becomes more powerful. Right? All right. Any other questions? I hope I answered Slewart's question. Right? Pick one course, work that course until you've solved the problem or answered the question you needed answers to, and then decide where you want to go from there. Right? For most people, that will usually be Secrets of Personality Transformation, Identity by Design, or Killer Influence. Now, this package doesn't offer Killer Influence, but if it's something you want, we can, if as long as the price points are of equal or greater or lesser value, we can substitute that for you. Right? We could probably substitute Stealth CPI with Killer Influence if that's something you wanted to do. All right. All right. Are you guys ready to play a little bit? All right. So let me go ahead and close the chat window for now. And I'm going to jump out of my screen share. All right. And actually, I'm going to put my chat back up because I need you guys to respond. So the process that we're about to do, okay, Pillars of Power, we only have time to do one of the 4 states that we talked about, but it will be enough that you can replicate the process for the other states. Okay. So I'm going to let you guys pick what state you want to work with of the 4. Do you want it to be playful? Do you want to be victorious? Do you want to be curious or relentless? Which of those four states would you guys like to do this with? Type it in the chat. Curiosity. Okay, very good. Anybody else? Victorious. Excellent. Okay. Alex, identity is not one of the options. So, playful, curious, relentless, victorious. Pick one. Okay, curious. Very good. All right. What's the difference in victory and triumph? The spelling. More or less, they're the same, right? Whichever word resonates with you more powerfully, that's the one you should use. Remember, your nervous system is inherently selfish. And what that means is whatever labels or colors or attributes your nervous system assigns to something, that is the attribute it will respond to most powerfully. So if somebody's color for victory is pink and yours is gold, trying to use their color for your state isn't going to work. Not nearly as well. Okay. All right. So, a couple of caveats now. This involves eyes closed processes, which means if you're driving, operating machinery, or heavy equipment, or involved in any activity that requires your full, complete, undivided attention, don't do this. Okay? Don't do this. To quote Bob Newhart, stop it. All right? And what we're going to do now is we're going to walk through the process. We're going to use victorious. Okay? Now, some of you may have challenges with that, right? Because maybe you can't remember a time in your life when you felt like a winner. Pretend and ask yourself the question, what might that be like? Okay? Anytime, and this is a general rule for any of the processes that we use in Planet David, anytime you have trouble accessing a remembered resource, ask yourself the magic question, what might that be like? And pretend. Make something up. Okay? The important thing is you ask the magic question, what might that be like? You have to use the word might. There's a neurological switch that gets flipped anytime you use the word might. That makes everything possible, right? Again, I'm not going to spend 30, 45 minutes explaining why might does that. Just trust that it does. Test it for yourself. Okay? Just pretend. Now, the other thing you can do is remember if you've ever seen somebody else being a winner, imagine watching that and then step into them and feel what it feels like, right? Again, this is an integrative neurohypnotic process. Please do not try to do this while you're driving or operating heavy equipment. If you're at home, please close your door. Scoot your children and your pets outside. Turn off your cell phones, unless you're, of course, watching me on your cell phone, right? So that you will not be disturbed, right? There's a lot of moving parts to this. And the beautiful part is you can go back and watch the replay, right? So the first thing to understand is physiology controls psychology. So I want you to stand, feet shoulder width apart, close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Let that breath out with a sigh. Deeper and deeper with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. All I want you to do is relax. Let go. Listen to the sound of my voice. Any sounds you hear other than the sounds of my voice are simply the sounds of your environment or mine. They're not going to disturb you. They're not going to distract you in any way. In fact, all they're going to do is signal you, remind you, reinforce inside your mind, body, and soul the fact that you're completely safe. That no matter how far inside you travel, no matter how deep inside you go, you will always, always, always be able to hear my words, follow my instructions, and obey my commands, because you realize that everything I say and everything I do is for you, to give you the life and the lifestyle that you want the way that you want it. by your standards and your definitions. Now, in a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to begin to remember a time in your life when you saw something that you really, really wanted. Like on a scale of 0 to 10, it had a lust factor of 27, and you made a decision. You made a choice that you were going to get that thing no matter what. And you made a plan. And you put that plan into operation and you worked that plan, and anything that got in your way, you went over, around, underneath, through, and finally the day came, boom, you nailed it. Home run. I want you to remember that moment of victory. Remember that moment of triumph. Remember how you were standing in that moment. Remember how you were breathing in that moment. What were you seeing? What were you smelling? What were you tasting and hearing in that moment? Because when you do that, when you're in that space and you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there's an amazing, powerful, unstoppable, victorious, triumphant feeling that you get, a feeling that lets you know you are truly the winner. And I'd like you to notice that there's a place in your body where those powerful, unstoppable, victorious, triumphant, winning feelings start, where they grow, where they spread from. Take a moment, notice where you feel that and point to it. Close your eyes, look at it. Notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's that color for you? First impression. Now imagine you could reach in, grab all that energy, take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes it hides. When you know you've got it, look at it. Notice, did the color change or stay the same? First impression. Now notice it's moving. It's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? Whatever direction it's spinning, physically grab it with both of your hands. Find the direction that makes it even stronger. When you find that direction, spin it like a wheel and double the spin. Double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice it's strong. Notice as this new power works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into your neurology, any program, any belief, any memory, any experience that's not in harmony with this new set of instructions, your neurology is going to begin to shed. It's going to begin to purge like a snake shedding its skin, like old software being uninstalled by newer, better, more powerful software. There's no need to measure it, manage it, or make it happen faster. Just notice that process taking place. Allow it to install itself completely. And when you know it's done, it's locked in, impossible to change or go back to the way it was, test it. Try to bring those old feelings back. Try to turn those new feelings off. Notice what happens instead. Many times, as this new program works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into our system, our body goes through all kinds of interesting changes and transformations. Some people break out in a sweat. Some people laugh. Some people yawn. Some people cry. Some people twitch. Some people just feel waves of emotion coming up. However your body does it, it's just your neurology resetting itself. It's just the emotional detox. There's no need to measure it, manage it, or make it happen faster. Just notice the process taking place. Allow it to install itself completely. And when you know it's done, it's locked in, test it. Try to bring the old feelings back. Try to turn the new feelings off and notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, and only when you're satisfied, stop testing, scan your body, notice how different you feel, and then reach in and grab that ball of energy, take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you got it all. Notice it's moving, it's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? Find the direction that makes it even stronger and spin it like a wheel and double the spin, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, till it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. And when you know you've got it, take that energy, place it on the ground in front of you, and see this pillar of energy, zoom, rising up from the floor infinitely into the sky. Just your height or even taller, feel the energy vibrating off it. Smell it. Breathe those frequencies into your lungs and feel the tingling of that sense of victory, that sense of triumph, that sense of being an absolute winner. Breathe it into your lungs and feel it going into your bloodstream. And from your bloodstream, every place your blood flows, those feelings go into every nerve and every cell and every atom, into the very DNA of those cells, transforming, reprogramming, turning each and every cell of your body into a powerful, perpetual victory factory. Each cell of your body generating more and more and more of those amazing feelings in an infinite, ever expanding and unlimited supply. And when you're ready to own it, to embody it, to personify it completely, step into that pillar and feel that energy surge throughout your mind, surge throughout your body, top to bottom, bottom to top, inside to outside. Breathe those frequencies of victory and triumph into your mind, into your body. Feel it go into your bloodstream, and every place your blood glows, those feelings grow into every cell and every atom, every nerve, and just dissolve into it. Feel yourself expanding to fill that pillar until every fiber of your being is vibrating in complete and total harmony with this new energy, this new reality. And when you know you've got that, step out. As you step back out of the pillar doubles in size and strength, doubles in force and magnitude, twice as tall, twice as powerful, twice as strong. Breathe the energy into your lungs, into your bloodstream, and every place that blood flows, those feelings go into every nerve and every cell and every atom, reprogramming, transforming, making you unstoppable, a winner in every conceivable way. And when you're ready to own it, to embody it, to personify it completely, step back into that pillar and zoom. Feel the energy surge all throughout your mind, zoom all throughout your body, inside to outside, outside to inside. Feel your physical body growing and expanding to fill that entire pillar. See yourself looking down from on high, from this new perspective, this new vantage point. Feel the energy surging through your mind, surging through your body. Breathe it into your lungs, and from your lungs to your heart, from your heart to your bloodstream, all the way through you. And when you know you've got it, it's impossible to go back. It only gets stronger. Test it. Try to turn it off. Notice what happens instead. And when you know you've got it, step back out of that pillar. The moment you step out of the pillar, zoom, the pillar doubles in size and strength. Zoom, doubles in force and magnitude, doubling in power, doubling in strength, doubling in force, becoming more and more irresistible. Breathe that energy into your lungs. Feel it go into your bloodstream, and into every place the blood flows, the feelings go. Into every nerve and every cell, every atom, every molecule, every chakra, every level of your being, filled with the power of victory. And when you're ready to own it, to embody it, to personify it completely, step back into that pillar and zoom, feel yourself growing to fill the pillar, doubling in size and strength, doubling in force and magnitude, unstoppable in every conceivable way. Feel yourself expanding, amplifying, magnifying, accelerating, the ultimate winner in every situation or circumstance. You always find a way to come out on top. You always find a way to win. Victory is inevitable for you. You're the embodiment of victory, of triumph, of unstoppable success. Breathe it in through your lungs. Feel it flow into your bloodstream, and into every place your blood flows, those feelings go into every nerve and every cell and every atom. And let those things root in place. When you know you've got it, step out of the pillar. Reach down. Imagine your hands can stretch like Elastigirl or Mr. Fantastic. Reach down beneath the pillar. Reach to the top of the pillar. Condense and concentrate that pillar back down into this powerful, super dense ball of energy. Feel it vibrating in your hand. Feel it spinning and rotating. Place it in your left hand and karate chop it. So you have it, cut it in half. Take half of it, place it off to the side. Take the other half in your hand. Notice it's moving It's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? Grab it with both of your hands. Play with the direction it's moving until you find the direction that makes it even more powerful, more unstoppable, more unbreakable in every conceivable way. Double the speed, double the force, double the mag. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into the spot you originally took it out of, and feel the energy flowing out throughout your mind, throughout your body, doubling in size and strength, force and magnitude, expanding and filling your entire being, and let the whole file unpack and feel yourself upgrading. Feel the energy doubling in size and strength, force and magnitude as this program works its way deeper and deeper and deeper into your neurology. Any program, any belief, any memory, any experience that's not in harmony with this new set of instructions, your neurology is going to begin to shed. It's going to begin to purge like a snake shedding its skin, like old software being uninstalled by newer, better, more powerful software. There's no need to measure it, manage it, or make it happen faster. Just notice the process taking place. Allow it to install itself completely. And when you know it's done, it's locked in, possible to turn off, test it. Try to go back to the old version of yourself and notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, stop testing, scan your body, notice how different you feel. And when you're ready, only when you're ready, reach out, grab that other half of that energy ball that you put off to the side, hold it in your hands. And as you look at it, I want you to notice that it's malleable, it's shapeable. I want you to take it and begin forming it into something that you can wear. A necklace, a bracelet, a piece of jewelry, a tiara, a pin. I like rings, so I just fashioned it into a ring and I put it on my finger. And from this moment on, anytime you want, anytime you need a little extra boost of that victoriousness, that triumph, that winner, all you got to do is rub your magic ring and boom, that energy will come flooding back twice as strong as the time before. Each time you rub your magic ring, that energy of victory comes flooding back twice as strong. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Go ahead and test that now. Rub your magic ring or your necklace or your tiara or whatever it is you're going to use. And notice each time you do, that energy comes surging back, stronger and twice as powerful as the time before. Take all the time you need to let that process take place. When you're satisfied, stop testing, allow your eyes to open, and type what you experienced in the chat. What do you got? Alex says, I felt like I was floating. Okay. Body's tingling. Yeah, that's very common, actually. Jerry says, almost dizzy. Mm-hmm. Do you like it? Feels good, right? Yeah. Excellent. You guys did good. Now, that's the exact process. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of this because I don't like the auto frame. It's just too big. Okay. Now, that process is identical for victory, curiosity, playfulness, relentlessness. You can also use it for some of the luck traits I described. Okay, you're probably going to want to spend some time harvesting life experiences that are analogous to the different traits in the luck system, right? But I would work the Victor says thank you. Kem says thank you, superb. Nathan says heck yeah. Stuart says amazing. Susan says love it. Perfect. Thank you guys. This is a really powerful technique, right? For most of you, I would spend the majority of your time just working on the four key states that we've talked about today. Playful, curious, relentless, victorious. If you just cultivate these states, everything about your life will change. Ken says, what's it called? This is called Pillars of Power. Okay. You'll also find, in addition to this tutorial, You'll also find one or two examples of me doing this pillars technique for relentlessness on my YouTube channel. So, um, still vital. You will be. You will be, right? And now the secret to this now is do this every day and practice activating your jewelry. Okay? The secret to this is reinforcement and compounding. The more you trigger this, the stronger it gets. That's how your nervous system learns, through repetition and reinforcement. Okay? Again, the behavior that gets repeated gets reinforced. The behavior that gets reinforced becomes permanent. Does the jewelry need to be on different fingers? Not necessarily. As long as you can keep them straight and not have them like touch each other or mix. It's probably safer to have them on different fingers, but it's not required as long as you can keep track of them, right? So for those of you who may have been on the fence, so if you notice resistance to the state you want to reach with pillars, do you spin? Yes. Whenever you encounter resistance in any of the generative exercises that we're doing, the immediate standard operating principle is go to magic frame, spin it and color breathe it, and then go back to what you were doing, right? That's why we always teach spinning, magic framing, and color breathing to the general public, because that will handle the vast majority of stuff that most people will experience. Not fun. It's on there. Um, yeah, try real world hypnosis sneak preview number 2 or something like that. Type in sneak preview and see what comes up. That usually brings up uh, the 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 video. Should you store the rings or just pull them from your mind? Once you create them, keep them on your fingers, right? Now, can you, in theory, just like a regular ring, take it off, put it in a box, and go get it? Yeah, but why would you do that? You want your rings with you all the time, right? Yeah, wear them and touch them when you want. Actually, not just when you need them. Do it when you want them, right? And it brings up a really important point. If you wait until like you're in the shit to activate these rings, that's the toughest place. That's the toughest time to activate them. The best way to train this is to do it constantly, even when you don't need it, and just feel the strength, feel the energy and the strength getting more and more powerful because of the repetition. Don't wait until you're feeling like a loser to activate your ring. That's the worst way to do it, right? You want to build the power of this before you need it. Okay? That's how you do this, right? The old expression, don't wait till the barn's on fire to start digging the well, right? That's exactly what we're dealing with here. Most people are not proactive enough to be powerful. They're reactive, and so they're always on their heels. They're not prepared, right? All right, so that's about all we got time for. This is our last call for, again, this technique and a whole lot more is part of your webinar program, the Mastering Your Mind Home Studies course, right? You're going to get the secrets of personality transformation and the manual, $2,497 value. You're going to get Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study course, Hidden Laws of Attraction, Stealth CPI Universal Persuasion Protocol, Renegade Reframing, NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course, and that special VIP ticket to our next virtual healing intensive this weekend, by the way. Saturday, Friday. What's the date Friday? I didn't put the dates on here. Or did I? May 15th, 16th, and 17th. It's completely virtual, so you can do it from home. And I'd love to see you all there and help you clear your stuff and get you on the fast track to getting the life you want the way that you want it. Total value on this package is $13,982. You can get it all today, downloadable for one low installment of just $797, or you can break that up into 3 easy installments of just $297 each. All you got to do to get yours is go to www.nlppower.com/MIND. Click those links right now, grab your course, and join me this weekend for a special private group therapy session for 3 solid days. We're going to transform every conceivable thing that you might want to change. Okay? before I let you guys go, what questions do you have for me, if any? Karen is, hold on a second. Susan says, super excited for the 3 day. Nathan says, thanks, man. Karen is asking, is there a recording of this? I had to work and missed it. Yes. If YouTube is functioning properly, as soon as I log off, takes about a day to process, and then the replay should be available for everyone. How is it downloading? How does downloading happen? Is that what you're asking? If you go into your NLP Power account, uh, you should find under My Products, you should find your videos waiting for you, right? Susan's asking, just wondering if you will ever do video of timeline tricks. You know, so many, and I love when you show. Oh, I guess I could. No one really asked me about timeline all that much. Karen Wachowski, thank you, David. You're very welcome, Karen. Alex says, do you have a link for the YouTube? Do you mean for the replay or for some other video, Alex? Lottie says, like hypnotic is so lovely, I would like to feel more in a hypnotic state than I am myself. Okay, well, sorry, the replay. Um, well, this should show up in the live stream section of the channel. I don't have the link just yet because we're not done with the webinar, but there should be a link as soon as we end the webinar. And I'll probably do a separate page as well, maybe on the website. If you guys haven't visited NLP Power, they're running a big, I think this is the last day. We're running like a big 60% off sale. It's not good with the webinar, by the way, but a lot of our regular products and stuff like that are deeply discounted. So if you guys want to go out and check it out, you might find some cool stuff there that, might help you, right? Now, of course, if you have questions, right, anything you want to know about, just let me know, and we're happy to help you. Mia's available, Brandon's available, I'm available. You know, what certifications do you offer? Oh my God, Nathan, let me count the certifications. Let me jump out of this really quick. All right. So, in terms of certifications, we offer certifications in hypnotherapy, regression therapy, neurolinguistic programming, face reading, energy healing, vibrational medicine, um, advanced conversational hypnosis. Um, we've offered Reiki as part of our vibrational influence training from time to time, but for the most part, it's usually integrated into the it's usually integrated into the vibrational influence program. Um, I'm a career martial artist. I used to teach people martial arts and certify them in martial arts. I don't really do that anymore. Although I'm thinking about starting a new program. We have a great, for those of you who are interested and want to see my approach to martial arts, energetics, and NLP and how it all comes together, we have an event coming up June 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th here in San Diego. It's called Secrets of Internal Power. And it's where you get to see how all this stuff comes together in a way that you can physically test it and use it for self-defense and things like that. Okay. Um, so yeah, those are the current certifications that I offer. There will probably be others in the future, but that's what I got. Anybody else? Susan says, I wished I lived in San Diego. I wished you did too. All right. Um, all right. Well, in the words of the immortal Carol Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Oops. Seems we just got started. And before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your pillars. Let me know how you're doing. Click those links, and we'll see you this weekend for our next virtual healing intensive. I love you all. Good night and God bless. Take care.